Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. So what we're going to do is we are going to start the build for the Spartan. Now with the Spartan we are very much making a lot of sub-assemblies. So the first sub-assembly we're going to do, I've already built one side. If I was to build every single thing for you to see, we'd be here forever because this is basically repeated and mirrored on the opposite side. I've decided to cut some things out that will be repeated. This is actually pretty solid. But we're starting off with the outer side of the Spartan, and this is just basically made up of 3 parts which go together like so. Fairly easy and simple. You're not hopefully you're not going to get things massively wrong in sequence. I'm finding it easier to slide this together and then come at it with glue, because I use plastic weld, so come at it with the glue from the opposite side. So that's your first part in, and your second part goes in, and it's designed to slot together really well. It's I'm actually really impressed with the way that they've obviously looked at it going together. I perhaps feel that, you know, they could have made this piece as a single pressing, you know, unless GW can come in and actually explain why it was probably split the way it was. Now just be aware, okay, you've got a couple of little tiny pieces here. So this piece here has a groove in it, and that will marry up with this top piece here which has a groove in it. So and likewise the bottom piece, you can see these tabs here. Obviously this will fit these tabs. Now on the final drive here, what I'm assuming is probably the final drive because it's the rear wheel next to the engine, largest wheel next to the engine. You've got it curves and it marries up like so. And then I do apologise if you can hear an absolute racket going on. It is summertime. The neighbours' kids are out playing because it's summertime. So I've got the windows open as well, so you may get a bit of noise, but it's starting to get a bit scorching, similar to what it was a couple of weeks ago, or a week, or a couple of weeks ago now, I suppose, or a week ago, 10 days. And then this goes together like so. I absolutely recommend doing this all in one sitting so that you can press it together and make sure everything aligns. I'm not skimping with the glue in this particular piece either, simply because this is a major structural piece, and making sure it goes together and stays together is going to be quite important. But that is one side done, and so yeah, you can see now this is the top, this is the bottom, that's the front, that's the back. We have our doors. They're larger than rhino doors, but they are the same size as Land Raider doors. So I would say that if you wanted to, if you had a Land Raider kit and you wanted to faff around swapping things out a little just to make things a little different, you could do. Now I have bits and pieces from the Dark Angels Ravenwing upgrade sprue. I've already put an icon on my other side that I've pre-built. I'm just going to pop on this icon, and I'm just going to make sure that I can get it mostly central. So, and yeah, so there you go, Dark Angels, and that goes on like so. Bingo. Right, that's basically your first sub-assembly. Your next sub-assembly, they're coming in for the front of your Spartan. Now, already glued that piece together. So, taking a look at the pieces, these slot in like so. Okay. Okay. And that side. So this piece will be visible as the nose of the tank. We then have so you've got this piece, you've got your doors, you've got a top door and a bottom ramp. There it is. So that's your bottom ramp. This is your left and right sides. So that's your floor. And what you're going to do is this piece is going to glue into this piece like so. And then this will glue on like thus, and it is keyed. There's some little dimples, okay, but just be aware that there's this gap here, okay. Now this then attaches like thus. To make part of the front entry system. You're then going to pop in your lower ramp and your upper ramp. What I am going to do though is put just check and make sure that it's going to fit. So I am going to centralise one of my Dark Angels chapter symbols onto the top hatch. I think that looks about as straight as I'm going to get it. And that goes like thus, and then the ramp closes, opens and closes. Now, unlike the Land Raider, it doesn't have a mechanism which allows you to pull it open, and both will open at the same time. You then have the rear troop bay door. which goes in there. And then you will pop this on after you've made it as a sub-assembly, lining up the doors and floors. Like thus. Okay. Along there. Now, I'm not fussed about my interior being seen, so I am going to close it up. So that's it. So there you go, that is primarily the front compartment. You then have if I can find it, this piece goes in at the rear here. And that's your nose for the Spartan. What then happens is you then get this top cover which goes on, and that goes on like so. So let's give this a clean up. As I say, it's really well designed. It goes together quite nicely. You know, it's nice that it's been obviously designed well. But it is very much sub-assembly after sub-assembly on this build. Doesn't really come together until the very end. So this will then go on, and what I'm going to do is put the glue there, put the glue there, and put the glue there. And just make sure that that goes down properly. Okay, just be aware of the floor pan. Okay, because if you're not careful, you're going to end up bending it upwards. Now it turns around and says to put the front secondary armament on, but I'm not going to do that because I want to magnetize it. So we'll do that in a little while. We then have some other little bits and pieces. So this is the rear of the top deck. So, first things first, that's going to sit on top of there like so. So there's some good contact points inside. And I'm just going to add some plastic weld in those contact points there. So that's that. We then have part of the exhaust stack. Which goes into position like so. If you can see that. And we've got good contact down the sides here. For glue, and we have some contact just there as well. So that's that. We're then going to make some of the exhaust stacks. You've got E16 and E17 twice, and C7 and C6 twice. So let me go and prepare those, and I'll be back in a sec. Right you are then. So next little bits that get done are these pieces are popped into position here. Like thus. They will only go one way round. So okay. So, like that. Then your C16 and C17 will go in to position here. So just be aware that one is rounded on the base, which fits this one right at the back. And then you've got one that is flat, which fits this one here. Now, they will sink into position. So just be aware that they will sit down into the recess. And essentially all they are is just two halves that go together. And what I've done is I've chosen to just pop them together like so, and then I put the glue in from the inside. That way I avoid getting lots of glue on my fingers. However, I don't seem to have avoided missing a piece. I've obviously knocked it off the table. Or, as is the case, it's just stuck to my arm and I've just heard it drop on the floor. Be back in a sec. Okay, I found it. Right, so let's pop that one in. Pop the glue in. And then pop this one in. And pop the glue in. Like so. So that's part of the rear assembly. We then have this rear plate which holds the exhaust manifolds. This will sit in position and be held in position by the exhaust manifolds which go on there. They should only go on one way. There is some keying, so just be careful when putting it on. Obviously they're going to point, this bend is going to point upwards, and then that's going to connect into the exhaust stack itself. But before you glue that on, there are a couple of side pieces that you need to pop on. So E8 and E7 and again, I can't understand why these weren't just moulded in as one complete sheet. It's one complete piece for this exhaust area. So there's one. Two. Now, these will only go one way. Okay, so just make sure that you get them around the right way, and there is a tab to glue them in place. Like this. And then this locates here, like so. And locate it against the backboard there. So just make sure that you're located and you're squared up. And that is the arse end assembly. Then it does. The next steps are to build the weapons, but I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip ahead and finish up building the main part of the tank. There is a piece that needs to just go onto the drivetrain assembly. And that locates there, like thus, just above the weapon sponson. Like so. And then we're going to be doing the final floor pan, which is going to involve, again, adding in additional spacers to increase the width of it, which again, I can't understand why these pieces weren't just moulded as part of the plate anyway. So let me just check. Yeah, they will only fit one way, so that's good. So there's no real chance of faffing it up. So make sure you've got the correct alignment, and that bit. There you go. And that bit. So they sit in like thus. Again, I'm going to recommend gluing this together straight away, and the reason I'm going to recommend gluing it together straight away is to ensure that it fits and you've got that flexibility with the glue having not 100% gone off. So it does say to attach it to this rear piece first, but what I'm going to do is put that on there, and glue and then add in the bottom of the vehicle. And again, I'm putting the glue on in the inside. it right. Then it says to add the tracks to these units, but I'll go through that in a little bit. Now, what you need to just remember is this little thing here sits into this little recess here. So when you pop that together, it will look like thus. Okay, and just push it up, and then I'm going to start gluing. As I say, I do apologise if you can hear the kids outside, but like I say, it's summer and that's what kids do. So I don't think that's too much of an issue. Right, that's one side glued in place. Let's get the other side. I'm actually recommending that you've got these lugs here on the bottom. I'm actually finding it easier to locate those and then just rotate this part of it into position. It should give a nice satisfying click when it's firmly seated. Like so. Right, bear with me. Come back in a sec when I've got all the tracks cut out and ready to rock and roll. Putting your tracks on. So when I take the tracks out of the sprue, I make sure that I lay them out top section, bottom section, and I lay them out as they're going to be put on, and then I will start gluing on. So your first piece is C18, which is one of the longest. There's two long pieces of track which go on each side. So this one, you've got one top and one bottom. Again, these will sit in and allow you to then just pop your glue. You know, if you're using bog standard plastic cement, then pop that onto the parts that you're gluing first. But as I say, with the plastic weld that I use, EMA plastic weld, I can pop it on, and then the glue works by capillary action. And I must admit, I've been using this as a glue for a very long time. Make sure that when you do start putting your tracks on, you get them orientated around the right way. So these go on with the 2 pieces of the link there facing forward, and the single piece facing rearwards along the top. Obviously it will be reversed as you come round through the bottom. But yeah, just make sure you get these on the right way round. I don't think it's going to matter too much as opposed to the Rhino and Land Raider kits, which have the patterned tread. They have patterned tread, so you definitely need to make sure that you get that round the right way. These tracks being unadorned as they are, you could probably get away with it. So there you go. And then you've got a single link to go in on the rear. Followed by C20, which is a 5-link stretch. Then you've got your second C18 stretch, which is the longest stretch. So there's one on the top and one on the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find a wire brush. I don't know if I've got one in my toolbox. I'm just going to run a wire brush over the tracks. I might have to buy one. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I just want to add some wear and tear to the tracks. Otherwise I think they look a bit too clean in this instance. And then you've got a C19. And then you've got these 2 single links which slot in like so. And then the last one. Right, so there you go. That is your Spartan made up as far as I'm going to take it for now. Like I say, I want to see if I can magnetize the secondary armament turret, see how that goes. So I will do a separate video on doing the main armament and the secondary armaments, and just putting the rest of the bits and pieces on. All right. As a size comparison, here is a standard Land Raider, and so your Spartan is a bit longer. It is a little bit wider as well, so which probably allows for that extra troop carrying capacity. But there you go, that's the Spartan mostly made. Alright, come back in the next video and we'll finish her off. Okay, see you in a bit, bye.